Hello, welcome back. I selected all my pilots. I organized my pieces so I can easily pull them from the containers. And I also picked my target card, created my target deck. There's all the other target cards over off to the side. And so how do I know how many pilots I get to pick and what promotion level they start at? There's this help sheet here. And within the help sheet, you can see that for a long campaign, we get to have 12. If you add all these up, there'll be 12. And I get to have 1 newbie and 2 green. So you can see here that Haas is a newbie, and then Extra and Talon are my 2 greens. And then I'm supposed to have 6 average, 2 skilled, and 1 veteran. So my recommendation when you're playing this game is some of your guys. So for example, Talon here. Let's look at Talon versus Extra. Actually, Extra's a different type of example. Let's do Bear. Talon versus Bear. So one of the things I do is, so for example, they start at a newbie level. You can see that's a 3. Plus a 3 is 6. Plus a 6 is 12. 6 more is 18. And then 11 is 28, 29. So it would take 29 experience points to go from a noob to ace. Okay, that's for Talent. So now if I do Bear, a noob is 5, 10, 17, 25, 35, 36. So you can see that this is significantly higher experience points needed to get to an ace level. So, you know, you do need to apply a little bit of that to your thinking. So when I'm trying to pick who my green and newbie pilots are, I'm going to pick the ones that level up fast. So Talon, for example, is one of my green pilots. So I need to get him reset back to the way he was. So he's my green pilot because he levels up pretty fast and he's already promoted 1 level. So that 3 experience points, I don't need to worry about it because he's already at green at the start of the campaign. So I can't remember what number he added up to, but it was in the mid-20s. It's even lower now. Whereas this one was in the 36 range, and Bear, you can see, starts off at skilled, which is here. So I skipped this entire card. So that's 10 experience points that I skipped. And then I even skipped average, which is 7 more. So I just gave myself 17 experience points with this guy. There's many ways to look at this game. This is the way I look at it and how I recommend, you know, picking your guys. The other thing you want to pay attention to is the stats. So at a skilled level, this guy's going to start with a +2/+2, which is pretty darn nice. +3/+3, by the way, is the best in the game. So not all pilots get to +3/+3, even at ace level, but +3/+3 is the best you can ever ask for. So this guy's already 1 notch below best from the start of the game. That makes him an awesome pilot. He also has 1 cool, which I put a lot of value in. His big drawback is he has 2 drawbacks. One is the number of experience points it takes to level him up. Bear is a bear to level up, pun intended. And the other one is the special action points is 0. So he's pretty weak in that department, but I have a plan to mitigate that. The experience points, though, the only way to mitigate that is to start him off at skilled, okay? And so that's some of the logic behind picking these guys. And Talon, of course, is green. And even at a green level, which is a low level, he has no penalties, which is good. I think at a noob level, he did have penalties. Yes, he did. See, he would have been -1, -1. That's not good. So even at green, he's still at least decent. He's not great, but he's decent. And he'll level up fast. Now, there's other things, like for example, extra here is a weird one. Extra is actually better as a veteran, but not as an ace. So as a veteran, he gets +3 air to ground, he moves slow, and he has 1 cool. But if he ever promotes to ace, he's going to have +3 air to ground, he'll move fast, which I guess you could value a little bit, but his cool goes to 0. He actually loses his cool value. Stress, in my opinion, is more important to mitigate than whether they're slow or fast. And then this is our heavy bomber. This particular, the A6 intruder, they're meant to just blow the crap out of the target. They're not going to be doing air-to-air combat or even taking out radar sites. So you don't need these guys to be fast. It's the other ones you need to be fast. So this particular one being fast is not very helpful. So he is green, and he takes a boatload of experience points to level up. And my intention with this guy is he's never going to make it to ace. And so that's the reason why he's my other green. I don't need him to be ace. I don't want him to be ace. So I made him a low promotion. And even at a low promotion, he still has a +1 air to ground, which is very good. Okay, now my newbie is this Haas character. Now, these ones are the Corsairs, and the Corsairs are in my game solely because I wanted the bonus 12 points. And I'll explain some of that later, but Haas has awful stats, but he levels up super fast. He is actually one of the characters in the game that I identified that can go from newbie to veteran in amazingly quick fashion. Didn't want to spend forever on this, but 2, 5, 9, 13, and 8. There you go. 21 points to go from noob to ace. Those other two we just went through was what? 25, 26 points, and then Bear was 36 points. This one only needs 21. And so he can level up super duper fast. But here's the other thing. I took these planes solely for the 12 bonus points. They're not that great. They're not going to be my primary guys I send into missions. They're going to be there as extra guys when I need them. They can help, yes, but they're not meant to be super awesome. I basically took them for the extra SO points. Okay, so going through, I have 2 intruders. I have 2 Corsairs. Okay, the Corsairs gave me a bonus of 24 points. So you can see here there's 54 plus 24. Then you'll see this minus 18. The reason you see the minus 18 is the game rules allow you to promote your pilots 1 level. At a long campaign, the cost is 18 SO points. So I promoted Bear. So you'll see I have 1, 2, 3 skilled pilots, even though I was only supposed to have 2 in the game. I promoted one of my average pilots to skilled, and Bear was the one that I picked. Okay, so I have 2 Corsairs, 2 intruders. I have 4 Hornets, and they have to be the basic C Hornets, C-class Hornets from 1983. I have 2 F-14 Tomcats, and I have 2 AWACS, the Hawkeyes here. And the Hawkeyes are the most promoted. So I was allowed to pick 1 veteran in the game, and I picked Eyes to be my veteran, and I picked Brick to be skilled. I also picked Farm Boy to be skilled, and then Teflon is average. I was contemplating making him skilled instead of Bear. Okay, here's my logic. The first thing is these 2 take a long time to level up. Second, when these 2 are leveled up, they give you awesome candy. And here's what I mean by candy. See, the SA value is 3, and then this SA value is 3. So I can give out special action points to other planes. And so these 2 are like my quarterbacks, basically. I'm going to be using them to give out tons of special action points from the very start of the game. which is a huge advantage in my opinion, especially when you're doing an expert mission like this that's really tough. This, to me, is the most valuable thing to have to start. The second most valuable thing to have is good air-to-air combat, which is what Farm Boy and Teflon bring to the table. These are my air-to-air beasts, and their job is to take out the enemy planes. Everybody else's job is to be a bomber and destroy targets. And obviously the Hornets can fill in as air-to-air combat if needed. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing here, you can see can ignore events on a 6 or plus roll. So not a super good odds, but can ignore events, which is good because some events stink. Can give situational awareness, which is what we just talked about. And then I get a +1 on all air-to-air and air-to-ground rolls. So the entire group of planes that are on the mission with this plane, this one grants +1 to all air and ground combat rolls. So this +1 here is now a +2. Or that +1 is now a +2, and then this bear guy is now a +3, and so forth. Okay. The other one is very similar, but he can ignore events on a 4+. So he's really good at ignoring events, and he gives a situational awareness. As he levels up, he will give me a bonus to air, but not air to ground. So they're both very different, these two planes, in terms of what bonuses they give. And like this one's really good at ignoring events, whereas this one's really good at giving bonuses to combat. Okay, don't want to spend all day talking about this, even though I could. That's the basic gist. You get your pilots in, you denote their skills and promotion level. As they gain experience points, just going to put them in here. I think if you have the original Hornet leader, it's not going to be quite the same. This is where it really changes. It's going to be more blank spaces. You're just going to use hashtags or whatever, hash marks, whatever you need to do to keep track of things. I'll show you my system as we go. I do, like I said, the Air Force leader, Israeli Air Force, I just like this one so much more. I have 60 SO points to start. Remember I said we use them for R&R, which is very important to remove stress. And stress is going to be a big deal in this World War III scenario. Also, we rarely, if ever, gain SO points. So I was actually debating not even spending that 18. But anyways, I have 60, and that's what I'm going to start off with, and we're going to start on day 1. Okay? Now, a couple of things I haven't explained that I will start to is I ignored this section here. This section is important. We have what's called standard weapons and special weapons. These special weapons all require SO points, those precious little SO points. So if I want to use these kinds of weapons, I have to spend SO points. How many, you might be wondering? Well, the number of SO points I have to spend is based on the weight. So see that 2 in the box? That means I would spend 2 SO points to be able to use this type of weapon. Okay, now what I did was I took every weapon type, and they're always double-sided. So for example, this AIM 7 is an AIM 9 on the other side. So I always put the double-sided stuff. I take 2 copies of everything and just put them here on the board. And I like to put them right along the edge. And so my system is this. I put them here because whenever I'm arming my planes, I want to be able to see what every weapon can do. I can't memorize all this. So, and neither should you. I mean, so this is for my reference, right? I have a whole stack of them I can pull out as I need them. But this here is for my reference. So I can see what an AIM 9 does and an AIM 7, okay? So what you see is along the border here are standard weapons. And anything that's up in the play area here are special weapons, okay? That's my slick little system. Now, here you'll see that this is double-sided, where it's rockets on one side and then an AGM-84 on the other. Well, the 84 is a special weapon. And so that requires special operation points, whereas this is standard. So I put them vertical to each other. And then you see that's the same situation here. And this situation is just standard. Even though you see this on the playmat, anything, that's just standard. Now, you'll see I have a giant stack of these two here because I use these ones a ton. You're going to see me use these more than any other munition in the game, so I'm already preparing for that. And then these two are way down here because for this particular mission, the AGM-154 and the 130, they're not in the game. So that's just technology that doesn't exist yet. So I'm going to put these back in the box. I just had them out for purposes of this video. And then it gets even more complicated. Here you can see I have an AIM-54, which is a special operation weapon. But here I have an AIM-120 turned sideways. That's because AIM-120s are not in the game. So, or not in this particular campaign. So, there are no AIM-120s, so that's the reason why I turned it sideways. So we can never use this particular munition. So, in fact, it needs to look like that. Same situation here, these GBU-12s, the GBU-30s are not used. And here you can see a GBU-16 and the 32 is not used. And in here a 10 and the 31 is not used. Okay, so we can debate and talk forever the value of using special operation points on these weapons and munitions versus just using standard. I am a person who uses standard almost exclusively. However, this particular mission is hard. The other ones are not. And I'm gonna show you real quick. Just going into the box here. Let's just grab Iraq, which is one of the, well, that one's not gonna work. Here's one. So this is the Egyptian Defense 2015. I highly recommend this one because you can use stealth planes like this one. See how it says, the first 6 0 points of special weapons armed each day cost 0. So what that's saying is every single day I can use 6 points worth of these weapons for free. And so that's awesome, right? So you don't have to spend SO points to be able to use those weapons. So if you'll notice on this particular mission and your Iraq mission, if you start that one, I don't have that message. So to use these special weapons is going to cost me. And that's difficult. So anyways, getting into the game, a couple of things. First thing you'll notice is these ones have yellow corners. That's because these are air-to-air weapons or munitions. Okay, everything else is a bomb. Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing is this little 6 means I have to roll a 6 or better to hit. So I would, roll a die, I rolled a 7, boom, I hit. Now there are some planes that have a minus factor, so it would subtract from mine. And then I would also get to add my air-to-air values so that this 7 would become an 8, etc. We'll get into that as the game goes. This 1 means I can hit a target 1 space away. And this one is saying I can hit a target from 0 spaces away to 2 spaces away. So I need to look up what the red number means. I think, oh, I apologize. Yes. Okay, this one I can shoot at a target that's 0 spaces or 1 space away. This one I can shoot a target up to 2 spaces away, but not 0. Meaning, if there's another plane in the same space as me, I can't use this. That's the reason why the number's red. That's what it is. Then the H and L means I can do it at high altitude or low. Some weapons have to be done at high altitude only or low altitude only. These ones can be done at either. And then, of course, the blue box is how many weight points that is. And so that is how you read those weapons. Now, this AIM-54 is what's it called? It's a Phoenix. These are special, and there's even special rules for them. They're the only munition that has its own special rule. They're sort of sweet because they can shoot targets that are 4 spots away. That is very nice because most of the enemy planes cannot shoot you 4 spaces away. So these are nice sniper missiles. They're pretty good, but we have to spend SO points to be able to use these. So these are going to come at a premium. There are other missions where you get like the first 6 points for free, and it's a wonderful opportunity to use these. So in our case, we're going to have to be very selective on when we do or don't. It's going to be the toughest decision in the game, and you can also see that these are high altitude only missiles. Okay, so we can go through them all, but I'm going to just point out some highlights here. The bombs are usually 0 spaces, right? You have to be over the target. And then this means you have to be low altitude to drop that particular bomb. There are other ones you have to be high altitude for, so be careful and mindful of that. Like, for example, my favorite AGM-88, you have to be high for. You do get to change altitudes as the mission goes on, but you have to plan for that. Okay, a couple of things. This one, in particular, you can see takes 3 weight points. That's a lot of weight points, but it's pretty nifty. And here I'll show, like if I rolled a die and I rolled a 3, which is not a good roll, what I do is I would look at this and see the low number was hit. So I did 1 hit to the target. If I would have rolled a 4, it still would have been just 1 hit. But if I would have rolled a 5, I would have done 2 hits. And if I would have rolled an 8 or more, that would have been 3 hits. So these slashes mean I can hit 3 times with it. Okay? So the cheaper 1 weight MK82s, you can see, can do up to 2 hits, and you have to roll a bit higher. So that's sort of how the economy of weight versus damage is. And these little GBUs, which are the special Gucci bombs, I always say it's what the G stands for, they're Gucci. You can see that for a weight of 1, I can do potentially 3 damage, and those numbers aren't that bad. So on average, I'll probably get 1 or 2 hits with this. Now, obviously, if I had the Super Gucci's, that one does a little bit better. And then as we go on, this is a 2-weight Gucci that can do potentially 4 hits. And then we have a 3-weight Gucci that can also do 4 hits, but basically the first 2 hits are almost guaranteed if your pilot has a +1 or +2 to his bombing skill. So these are super highly precise bombs. Notice they have to be at high altitude versus the other ones had to be low. So it's really hard to mix these with regular bombs. Okay, we can go through a lot of things. The rockets are special. That little yellow S means that you can suppress a target. So this is a way to suppress an anti-aircraft gun, for example. So that anti-aircraft gun will not get to fire on you because if you successfully suppress it, you prevent it from being able to shoot. So these are defensive armaments. If you know an anti-aircraft's going to fire on you, you can choose to fire a rocket, and then that rocket can suppress it. I rarely use these. In fact, I always have to check the rules because I use them so rarely, but I might use them on this mission because it's just a hard mission. These AGM-84s, I believe, are the harpoons. Yes, they are. I can only use these against fleet targets, meaning sea-based targets. I don't know if any of you are thematically understanding what a harpoon is, but that's basically, these are anti-naval missiles, and they do require special operation points, so they will be very rare for me to use. The cool thing about them is you can shoot 4 spaces away. You don't even have to be over the target to do some pretty damage, good damage. We do have walleyes, which are special operation. Nothing real special about them. So I highly doubt I will ever use this. Now this one though, the Maverick, is a standard weapon, and you will see me use this a lot. I don't want to say a ton, but because it has specific features. This V is for vehicles, so the target cards are going to have special keywords on them. So if you're up against a vehicle target, this one gives you a +3 to your die roll against vehicles. Huge. And then the D is for dispersed targets. So dispersed targets give you huge penalties if you're using regular bombs, whereas this cancels the disbursement penalty. And so this is very good against dispersed targets. Again, this particular one, I don't use it regularly, but when I do, it's for a very specific, for those two keywords, the vehicle or the dispersed. You can also shoot from 2 spaces away, so that's also nice. So these are not bad at all. And then lastly, like I was talking about the AGM-88s, you can shoot from 3 spaces away, which sounds awesome, but they only hit radar targets. That's what that R stands for. So the bandits have to have a radar keyword on them. So like this bandit here has an R and an S. The S meaning it's a soft target, the R meaning it's a radar target. So this particular missile can hit this radar target. It cannot hit a target at all if it does not have radar. Okay, so these are extremely powerful, but very limited in terms of what they can hit. But the things that they can hit are the things you want to hit. So that's the reason why they're so good. Also, you only need a 4 to do a hit with these, so it's pretty easy to get a hit. And like I said, 3 spaces away is really nice. Now the other side is an ECM pod. So these are used for electronic countermeasures, and you would equip one of these. It does take up one of your weight points, but that allows you to avoid being hit by any aircraft or enemy missiles. These can be very valuable. Basically, let's say you were to get hit. You can roll, if you roll a 6 or better, then basically you get to cancel the hit. That's basically what this is saying. That can be a lifesaver. It's just that you have to consume one of your weight points to do it. So that's a very difficult decision sometimes, because usually you need all your weight points. I said I wasn't going to go through them all, and I actually did. So apologies there. There are some nice things in the chart. For example, right here was the pilot promotion I was talking about. We haven't gone into recon and some of this other stuff, but for example, if I want to do R&R, that costs me 9. Remember, I have 60 to start the game, so 9 times 7, 56. I'm going to be able to do R&R 7 times, if that's all I spend my SO points on. We do have a tanker. I can do 1 per aircraft, and special weapons is 1 per weight point. So that's where you spend operation points. The tanker, of course, basically is allowing you to take your full weight value on your plane and not take the penalty for, so for example, this is a penalty of 4 to hit targets down here. If you pay for a tanker, you can basically cancel that weight point penalty. And it's 1 SO point per aircraft that you do that for. So it could be pretty expensive to try to spend SO points for those deep targets. These are optional rules. Really not doing any of these. Most of these just make the game easier. So we're not doing any of those. The stress accumulation is really nice summary here. If you're ever doing an attack sequence, there's a nice summary here. And then same for the bandits. This is in case your pilot gets shot down. This is a roll, just like in Skies Above the Reich, to see if you died. You don't want to get here, by the way. You want to avoid this. And then, of course, experience at the end of the mission. How does that work? You get 1 experience point for completing a mission, and then 1 extra for completing a mission if the target was destroyed and none of your aircraft was destroyed. So you could potentially get 2 per mission, okay? And then there's some bandit AI, but it's really easy. So I know we're 30 minutes in. Let's go ahead and just at least get a turn started. These first turns are going to go slow because I'm trying to explain the rules. They will speed up as we go. First thing we do, well, let me explain. We have a really nice sequence of what to do in the play, but it starts with you picking your target. We haven't picked our target yet, so there are some rules you have to know before you get into the sequence, and so I'm going to explain that right now. The first rule that is important is recon. Our recon is 3. So what that means is we get to draw 3 target cards, and we're going to get to pick 1 for our mission. okay? I'm going to use a target card that's not in this game, just as some example. So here's 2 of them. This one is preferable to me because I can send 7 planes on that mission. In the beginning of the campaign, you want to send as many as possible because they're all well rested, no stress on them, and I want to get them experience points. So this one is a beautiful one to start the game with, okay? So I'm hoping to get something like this. This one I'm also hoping to get for a different reason. It has the keyword secondary. On every day, you can only do 1 mission. However, the secondary keyword means you can do a second mission, but you have to have a secondary card. So I'm going to get to draw 3 cards. If none of the 3 cards say secondary, then I'm out of luck. So what I'm looking for is one of my cards to be secondary, and then the other card to have a really high number. That's what I'm hoping for at the start of the game. And if it doesn't happen, well, then we just deal with it. But obviously this one is quite a bear. There's a lot going on in this one, and you need all 7 planes to take this one out. But anyways, these are, of course, targets that are not in the game, so I'm just putting them back, making sure I don't lose the order, because these ones you want to keep in sequential order. Okay, so we're going to draw 3. You do them one at a time, and if you decide to do your mission, you stop drawing. And the reason you want to do that is there are some keywords called, here's one right here. So this one's got all kinds of cool keywords on it. Improvement. All target cards get +1 center bandit draw. That's a bad thing. And this triggers the moment you draw it, and it stays out until you eventually destroy it. So it'll impact, even if you go after a different target, this one will impact that other target. So you don't want to just draw all 3 cards all the time. So anyways, that's some brief explanation there. And so let's go ahead and draw the first one, see what we get. All right, we got a rail line, beautiful, right there. Secondary, and then stress -1 is even better, because stress -1 means that whatever stress we're going to get for that mission, we get 1 less. It is a small target and fixed, and I will look up both of those to explain those to you. But basically, it just means that you're going to need certain bombs to be able to hit those. Well, in fact, let's look them up now. The rule book has everything right in the front, which some people can get really intimidated because you want to just learn how to play, and they're going through all the keywords before you even figure out how to create a campaign. So you can see right here, campaign setup is after the keywords. So it can really throw you off if this is your first time. But so small means you subtract 1 from all air to ground rolls. So that's unfortunate. And then fixed, ooh, where are you? Fixed. JDAM weapons can only attack fixed targets from 99 to 2008. We don't have JDAM weapons, I don't think. Oh, that might be what the Gucci's are. I can tell you the JDAMs are usually the ones you have to spend special operational points for. Yeah, right here. That's the Gucci 31s. Those are JDAM. So all fixed is saying is that JDAM targets can't hit them until 1999. Just so in case you remember, these aren't even in our campaign. We don't even have those. So it doesn't matter. We can ignore the keyword fixed. It doesn't impact us at all. It's the small keyword that's hurting us. So anyways, these are right here in the front of the rule book, and they are pretty straightforward. You just find it, and it's so anyways, yeah, fixed doesn't impact us. And yeah, and then there's that dispersed one I was telling you about. So you can only ever do 1 hit at a time, whereas there is one bomb that can ignore that. Okay, so this is exactly what we wanted. We found it a secondary target. So let's draw 1 more. And there it is. Improvement. Increase the weight point penalty of all targets by 1. So this one's very bad. It's a carrier fleet. It has a really high number, which is what we're looking for. The stress is super bad. The bandit thing here means that the carriers are going to be launching planes every round or every turn. It is a vehicle, so we need to consider using that vehicle bomb I was telling you about. And then, of course, the weight point penalty stinks. I am stopping here. Now, I have my primary and I have my secondary, which is exactly what I wanted to do. This is 12, so I'm going to be able to send out 12 planes. There is one special rule. These planes here don't count. So whenever I have an 8 here, I can actually send 9 planes on this mission. I can send 7 plus one of these AWACS. I only have 12 total planes in my fleet, so I'm going to be sending everybody out, and I'm going to have 1 less plane to send to each mission. Or I'm going to just pick 1 mission and send 2 less. This is such a... See, it's already stressful at the start. Be careful. I got what I asked for. Okay, the other thing with this is you get to pick the order. I'm going to do this one first because this one has a penalty. That weight point penalty would have applied to this one had I gone after this one first. So I'm going to do this one, hopefully destroy it, so that way I don't have a penalty for this one. So this one is a 35 and a 16. It does help to go look. So you can see the 35 is here. The weight point penalty is 0, so it's going to be no big deal. You're going to have a penalty of 1 against that particular one. The 16, however, is here. So the weight point penalty is 3, so having a weight point penalty of 4 is very bad. So we don't want that. Also, the stress is really high on this, but it does say stress -1, so that's helpful. So what we're going to do is, what I like to do is I take the secondary target, and I'm just going to put it maybe here, and then we put the primary target in the middle, like so. And so now we're ready to rock and roll. So first thing we do, like it says, draw target cards, which we did. We select our target, we did that. Determine and place sights. So we actually get to see the sights, but not the bandits, okay? The bandits don't get drawn until pretty far down. Right here, step 8, okay? So we're gonna get to see the ground targets, so we do some aerial, satellite photography, but we don't know what bandits are protecting them. So let's take care of that now. So it says that there's 3 sights on the approach and 3 on the center. So I'm going to draw 3 for each approach. This is brutal, in fact. So I'm always going to do, if I don't mention it, it's going to be northeast, southwest. So here's my 3. I'm making sure none of them are that, we have those 2 that are out of the game. Remember, we're looking for these Mirage 3s. So if I ever draw those, I got to take them out. And so I don't have any of those. We ignore the plane side. So the other thing I do is this means that they're super dangerous. And this means they're not. And you might be thinking to yourself, well, how do you know that? Well, this one has a range of 0. So this can only hit you if you're actually over this particular space. These ones have a range of 1, so they can hit you here or 1 space away, including the target, because they're right next to the target. And so we may want to fly over the target to destroy the target, so I consider these 2 a threat. That's the reason why I separate them. Okay, it'll make more sense later why I'm separating them, but you have to basically arm your planes, and I need to figure out how many bombs I need to take out each of my targets. Okay, so we're going to keep going. All right, so this is an easy one. Oh, I keep forgetting we're looking for mirages, that's right. This one is a very bad one and an easy one, okay? All right, and a very bad one. Bad one. Easy. Very bad. Okay, so I'll probably go over this a little bit more because we're going to basically pick with our approach. Now, some of the reasons I say some of these are easy, you know, these ones can only hit you if you're at low altitude. So as long as you're at high altitude, you can be on this space and they still can't hit you. So not all equipment can hit you if you're flying at high altitude. So this one for sure can, and then those two can. So if I'm at this space, I could get hit by this one, these two, and these two. I may even be able to get hit. Yep, this one here can shoot 2 spaces away. So there's a lot of them that can hit me if I'm over this space, but these two actually can't, which is pretty crazy. But only if I'm flying at high altitude, but what fool would fly at low altitude over them? So that's part of the strategy of this game. That's a lot of fun. Okay, so I had to pick 3 on the approach, and then it says 3 over the center. So I'm picking 3 more. So 1, 2, 3, and just checking for the mirages. All right, now these ones though stink, because even though that one has no range and it's low altitude, usually the bombs are dropping are low altitude bombs. So that one is a threat, and so is that one. Oh, I grabbed, and that one is also a threat. So is that one. In fact, those 3 are not nice at all. These 2 are bigger stinkers than this one. Okay, so that is determine and place sights, step 3. Now we assign our pilots. So we get to see what we're up against. Here you can see I'm going to have 2 bandits on every approach, 4 bandits in the center, and every single round or turn another bandit's going to launch. Here I'm going to have 2 bandits on every approach and 1 on the center. So not quite as bad. So I'm going to take eyes on this mission. And my reason is he gives me a +1 to all my air-to-air and air-to-ground. I need help on this one. So that means Brick is going to be on the other mission. Okay. As far as air-to-air fighters go, I will do Teflon on one and Farm Boy on the other. Usually I always split up the F-14s. I am tempted to do Teflon and Farm Boy both on this mission, but I don't have a lot of luxury here. I can do 8 and 4. So I think I need air-to-air help. So I'm going to send Bear to do air-to-air. So this is 2. Remember this one, these you don't have to count these towards the count. And then Mustang, I can put Talon on the other one, Cowboy on the other one. So 1, 2, I can only send 4 on this other mission. To take out this railway line. So I'm going to bring Talon down, put Cowboy up there, and then Buzz and Haas, which are my 2 weakest planes. Although Buzz actually has a decent air-to-ground bonus right now, but those are my 2 weakest. They only have 7 weight points. They're going to get a 3-point penalty just for going on this mission. But I'm going to go full 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5th one. And so this next mission, I can send 8 planes, but you're going to notice I'm going to only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to be 2 planes short against this carrier fleet. And I did this on purpose because these two both have 12 weight points, which they're mega beasts. I usually put one on each mission, right? One on this mission, one on that mission, because those are the ones that usually finish the job. But because I'm 2 planes short on this particular mission, I'm basically going to take my 2 mega bombers on this one and let those ones fend for themselves against the secondary target. If I somehow don't destroy the secondary target, then it'll just be there for tomorrow to take care of. The secondary target is easier to take out. I'm just hoping that this is the right choice. So my other concern is between those three. Those are going to be my 3 bombers. See, I put Cowboy up there because he has a +2 air to ground. He's going to be the one that's basically going to take out the target. These other 2 are going to be bonus if they can take out targets. Down here, Bear is actually going to be an air-to-air fighter with Mustang and Talon helping out with the bombing. That's how I think I'm going to play this out. I know I'm 46 minutes in, so I'm going to go ahead and stop here. We just finished assigning pilots, and basically the 2 rows here, this first row is mission 1, the primary mission. This second row is mission 2. And I'll see you in a few.